Hey guys, this is Laurel or Rel with the Dabbling Hook. How are you doing today? Oh, it's just water. Today's Friday the 7th. Yeah, it's Friday the 7th. I am doing a late lunch video, so it's just water. No wine. How are you guys doing? I asked that already, didn't I? I am doing well. Back from vacation a week, and I need a vacation from my vacation. Isn't that always how it is? It was good to get away, but it felt a little constraint, circumstances given what they are. Completely understandable, but it was nice to get away. It was nice to smell different air. It was nice to smell the sea air. Yeah, just a different scenery was good. The restriction came in that, if you just wanted to go somewhere, you had to really think about, what you were going to do. So we didn't do much. Father Minion, we went to Algonquin, Maine, and Father Minion loves the beach, and he loves it out there. So he was in there all the time. He got quite his tan going right now. I went to the beach one day. I'm not a huge beach goer. Yeah. Take it or leave it. It was hot. I like summer. I love summer. I love the heat, and I will take this over winter any day, but it was hot. Very, very hot. So, yeah, they did that. We chilled. We chilled in the room. They chilled in the cold AC, and I stayed in my corner and crocheted and knitted. What more can you ask for, right? Anyway, welcome to all the new subscribers who are here, and all you guys who keep coming back and spending some time with me. I know there are a ton of other people out there to watch, especially, hold on, I've got fiber because I was putting everything together. I've got fiber everywhere. There are a ton of people, especially after the Christmas and July fairies, where there were so many more people I didn't know was out there. Because you do get into a rut, and you make sure you watch the people that you normally watch, and then I almost always click on suggestions that pop up and watch and see what's going on. I don't always subscribe, but there were a ton of people out there, and more coming every day. So which is awesome. And what's awesome is, I said before, a few of us have been in the YouTube yarny scene a long time. Me, I've been a huge lurker from the beginning, and only really started posting videos 2 years ago or so, or is it 3 already? But anyway, but it was mainly knitters out there, and I watched a lot of them. In the beginning, I had no idea what they were talking about. Needles, yarn weights, this and that. I just knew where to go to buy acrylic yarn, and that was it. So boy, has that changed. But now there's just so many more crocheters and knitters who knit a bit, Pam. I don't think you can really say that now, but she has a challenge for herself before she can drop the bit part, so we'll see. But yeah, there's so many more people out there now, and it's awesome. There's always something to watch, because now you can't watch everybody, catch up on everybody all at once, so it takes a while. So it seems like there's always something or someone to watch. So I appreciate that you guys come and spend some time with me, come visit. So on that note, what have I done? I didn't think I did a whole lot, because usually when I go on vacation, I take a huge bag, like when you go to Walmart and you have big stuff and they put it in the bigger bags, or like a 13-gallon trash bag. That's what I usually take with me, and I just stuff it with yarn and any projects I'm working on, because I'm trying to get inventory up for the fall. Well, that's not happening. So right now I think I have just one craft fair that hasn't canceled yet, and that's usually in December, but I'm just waiting for that email to come, because I just got one, is it today or yesterday, about another one that got canceled. I think they were trying, but no. So yeah, I brought yarn, but I'll just show you what I worked on. So where are we starting? Oh, the other thing that happened on vacation was Minion 2 got a little jellyfish sting. Wasn't anything huge, but his hand, he said, got numb. You can tell where it was a little swollen and where he had little not huge blisters, but where the skin was a little, you know, bumpy and everything. So that only lasted a day. And then on another day, they swore, I think it was the day I went with them, that Father Minion swore he says a shark, but something jumped out of the water. So yeah, not much of a beach person. And when I do go, I stay on, you know, under the umbrella in the shade, and I crochet. And that's what I did. That's what I did. So yeah, that's what happened. Anyway, the other thing we're doing is trying to figure out, well, I'm slightly on the fence about, our school is going back 1 week in person, 1 week not, and I need to fill in the form that says, no, we're not going to do that, because as much as I don't want to be on them and have to manage school remotely, Minion 2 has got allergies and asthma, and the winter, when it gets cold, that triggers his asthma, and in the spring, his allergies trigger his asthma, so I don't want to add current situation in the mix. And I think the last year and this year, the first years in almost 10 years, we haven't visited the ER in the middle of the night at least once. So every time I think about it, I get, yeah, I don't want to deal with that. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on to better things. Whips. What I am working on. I am still working on, this is I'm trying to place so I don't drop everything. This is what I call my me hat. It's a skein of, or a hank of Malabrigo Anniversario that, trying to focus on me. There you go. That I bought that last year, I think. And because I saw it on somebody's Instagram, it was early last year or the year before, and the colorway that she had, it grabbed you. It was gorgeous. And I stalked her page because she didn't say exactly what it was, so I went back in her feed and figured out what it was. And I found a yarn, but the one thing when you buy Malabrigo, if you see a colorway that you like, grab it and grab multiples of it, because the batches can be so drastically different in the vibrancy, the potency of the colors. So the one that she has, I couldn't find it, so I found something that I thought was okay. It looked nicer in the hank. It looked okay when I skeined it. I'm not thrilled with it knitted up, but this is it. This is the outside, and you see more colors in the cake or the hank than, to me, it looks like socks. Like the Patton's Croy or the Opal, those sock colorways. And yeah, it's not exactly what I was after, but it's Malabrigo, so I kept going. And I thought about making a sockhead hat, and then I just decided, you know, the sockhead hat is basically a long brim with stockinette, so I just did my own thing. And I got tired of doing the ribbing after a while, so it's long enough that you can cuff it all the way up or partially, or leave it down and have an awesome slouchy. So I'm just going to keep going and going and going, but I'm not thrilled with the colorway the way it is, but it's Malabrigo. So it's my whenever me project, and I did put quite a few rows. I think, let's see better, I think I was like below here on vacation, and I added that much to it, so there was no rush to it, but I'm getting to the point where I would like to get it finished. So that's that. The other thing I'm working on, I was contemplating not finishing it. It's the Sis Love, the half circle shawl. Now, I only started because I thought it was pretty, and I wasn't really joining in the crochet along that was going on because I know I would not make it. So I was going to just make it, and I didn't know what to use, and I should have used a mandala ombre, but I used a regular mandala, and I don't mind this colorway, but it's not inspiring me. This is Genie. Oops, why is it? So I did not get a whole lot from, I think last time when I showed it I hadn't put in the white yet, so I didn't get very far. Plus I had to rip back three rows completely because I was off by I think 1 or 2 stitches, and it took me like a good 15-20 minutes like counting and recounting the rows below to figure out where I messed up. And I basically I was off a stitch, or by the time I got to where I realized it ended up being 2 stitches, but I added an extra stitch somewhere in a space, and yeah, so it's helping me practice some patience and just go along, because the pattern, it is a free pattern, and it's just all, it's all charts. You have to, and I usually look at it on my computer, but I was in transit, so I printed the next 2 pages. So you got to pay attention. So we'll see. I'm aiming to finish it, but we'll see. Who knows? Dry mouth. Yeah, I think, oh no, I have one more. Hang on, before I'm going to cause an avalanche because I put it way under. Okay, so the other thing I'm working on is, I think it was part of a collaboration, Lady Dye Yarns. It's and other people too, and I apologize, I got stuff in my eye and I didn't prepare as to exactly, I think it's one of her kits, and they were 4 designers included. There was a knit version, a crochet version, a Tunisian crochet version, that was done by Detroit Knots. The knit version is Casapinka, and the Tunisian is by Detroit Knots. The crochet is by Dizzy Peach. They're all on Instagram. These are all on Ravelry. I think there's a website. If I can find it, I will put a link below, but it's on Ravelry. So I did that, which I'll talk about in finished objects, but I decided to give the knit version a try. And this is all, the color theme is it's all purple, but when I decided to crochet it, I didn't have any purple with me. I forget where I was. So, or I didn't have any purple readily accessible. So I pulled out a skein of Queen's Yarn Boutique. I'll talk about it then. But anyway, I came across, after I was done, I had some, what is this? Hoops and Threads Woolike. And I had used it to, what did I use it for? It's part of a shawl that I did, that the person changed their mind, family. I don't seem to learn my lesson when it comes to these things. But anyway, it's a whole other story. So I had some leftover Woolike, and it's purple. Or lavender, so I decided to, I'm tripling it. I took, it's I think it's a, shoot, I don't have the, oh, I do have the wrapper. It is a #1 super fine. I guess it is. And you know me and skinny yarn, so I tripled it. I took I think I'd done a video on how to take your, how to take your worsted weight and turn it into a super chunky, a #6, by doing that, you know, Z thing. If I remember, I'll put the link to that below. But what was I saying? So I did the same thing with this #1 to make it into a, I think, DK weight, maybe light worsted. And I started knitting the knit version. It's boring. I love garter stitch. It's squishy if you have the right yarn. It's just, you just can't stop squishing it. I love garter stitch. A lot of people don't. They like stockinette because it has that smooth finish. I love garter stitch. Plus, all you're doing is knitting, knitting, knitting. So the color is not my color wheel, and it was boring me. So I looked in my stash, and I had some Boutique Unforgettable in, I think it's Petunia, and Petunia. And I decided to stripe that every other row, every third row. So 2 rows of the purple, 2 rows of the Boutique. So yesterday I was getting my car serviced for the first time in overdue. It was well overdue. And I chucked this in my bag, and when I sat down after checking in, I went to pull it up, and there was a little catastrophe where this came off, and I quickly got it back on, but now I got to figure out, I think I am down like a row, and I got to figure out how to fix it. That should be interesting. So at least I saved it. It's just 1 row, and if worse comes to worse, I'm going to leave it like that because this is going to end up being the neck, and no one will ever see it. So yeah, so that's adding some interest. And even though it's supposed to be, you know, it's a number 4, but it's that thick and thin, and it's more of a light number 4 in most places, so it'll give it that more area look. So you can see through that. So all acrylic, and it's slow going. Oh my gosh. On number 8, it's 5mm needles. So yeah, this one I did in, I started it the night before and I finished it by the end of the other day because, you know, in between other things. But this knitting, yeah. Okay, so that's that. The other thing I finished, I did a, so that was my work in progress, and that's kind of what I am working on right now. I'm about to start something else. I finished one. I'm not too keen on it, so I'm gonna, I kind of did my own thing, and I wasn't keen on it, so I bought a pattern. I was trying to fiddle with what I was doing to get the shapes right, and then I'm like, just buy the damn pattern, because, you know, sometimes just buy the damn pattern. Yes, I can do things, but it's just easier sometimes to buy the damn pattern. So that's what I did. I bought the damn pattern. What was I saying? So that's what I'm working on. I need to start another one. I'll show you what it is in a second. So what have I finished? So I was chatting with Allie of Little Drops of Wonderful, and where she sent me a link because I was trying to get into the swing of things, and she sent me a link of something she was working on. She said, and it's quick, and she said maybe that'll get my juices flowing because, you know, it's amigurumi and I'm all about that. When she sent it, I'm like, wait, that looks familiar. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've made one of those. So I went back through my Ravelry projects, and back in 2015, if I remember, I'll put in a picture of that one. I made one of those, but it is the Osso Donato. Osso is bear. I think it's in Italian. Don't quote me on that. But Donato the bear. So I made another one. And I couldn't believe it had been that long since I had made one. But yeah, I whipped one up. Just, it's a really quick make. She was surprised how quickly I finished it, but I'm like, ooh, I just got inspired and I made another one. So this is some, it's over there. What is it? AC Moore, the Studio Binnacle, the classic. And then I have no idea what that is. This color, I don't know what that is. It was scraps from something, I'm pretty sure. I don't remember. Oh wait, yeah. This is, I don't remember what the dark one is. I forget what that is, if I even have any more left. But the color section, that is from a Big Twist, not Big Twist. It was a Bernat Big Stripes. I think they discontinued that. It was a cake. It's Super Value Big Stripes. and I love the feel of it. It has almost like a little bit of a waxy feel to it, but I love the feel of it. But I'm pretty sure they discontinued it. The only place I saw it was at AC Moore, and then occasionally I saw it at Joann's, but it's been a while. But yeah, I still have, I think, one cake, part of a cake left that I use for that. So that's that. I'm pretty sure it was from that. No, I lied. Okay. The teal is from there, from the Bernat Super Value Big Twist. The other colors are from a paint box yarn that was given to me by, pretty sure by Miss Canadian Crocheter. That's what that is, those colors. So yeah, all that to say I made an armless bear. You could add a bear. There are people who've made it who add, you could add a bear. Did I just say that? There are people who've made it who've added arms to it, but this is the way the pattern is. So I'm pretty sure I'll make another one, not sure when, and then I am going to add the arm to it. But yeah, and that's the back, the jog. So yeah, there's that. The other thing I did a test for somebody, but I can't show it till that person's ready to put it out there, so that'll come at a later date. So that's finished and waiting. On vacation, or before vacation, so Cam the Crafty Nomad was posting about Dash Jadea that she was doing as part of a crochet along, and I wasn't going to, but again, it's Amigurumi. I'm a sucker for Amigurumi. And I have done, it's a pattern by Jess Huff, and I've done her patterns before. I've done a couple of, I think I've done 2 or 3 of hers. The last one I think was a Giraffe, which was a special order from 2 years ago. But anyway, so I started it, and I think I started it like a night or 2 before we left for vacation. And I wanted it to be, I know I wanted it to be a different color. I wasn't sure what, and then I think on one of Kim's lives at the time, she said somebody had made one, I think it was her, or maybe somebody else mentioned it, that somebody else made one that was pink. And I'm like, see, yep, they were on the same wavelength. I didn't want it to be the standard colors, so I looked over and I'm like, oh, I have plenty of one of my favorite yarns there, which is wool spun, which we know is discontinued. But I had some, I think this color I got when they were having, I think Lion Brand was having one of their flash sales at one point, and I bought a bunch. But so he is in red, you know, Rudolph red, because so the pattern has the option to do the nose going across, which I'll talk about in a bit, and then also the Rudolph red nose as well. So I know I wanted it to be in a darker brown color, didn't have that in there, but this is, I think this is the cinnamon colorway, I forget, but so that was like the skin tone and the belly patch, and then the bottom is claret. It looks like dark brown, but it's like a burgundy-ish dark color. And then of course, instead of doing Rudolph the red nose, I did the whole red one. I want to make another one, but I haven't decided on the yarn yet. But yeah, that is him. That's the claret. That's the I'm pretty sure it's cinnamon is the colorway. I could be wrong, but anyway, yeah. So the nose. Oh, and I added the smile, which is not part of, yeah, the side smile, which is not part of the pattern, but I like to add smiles to my pattern, or to my amigurumis. So the nose, I had to start 4 times. Twice I ripped back to here, and then once I had ripped back the whole thing, because when you do this, you start with chains, and then you do that little oval and go around, and where she's having you start, when I did the increases for here, it ended up always on the side here. So I had to kind of math it and figure out, okay, if I do this and it ends here, where do I need to start so that it moves it closer to the center? So it's still a little lopsided, but gives it character, because nobody's facial features are spot on, or shouldn't say nobody, very few people have symmetrical facial features. So yeah. And then the tail is just too cute. It's like this flirty little fluttery tail. Oh, too cute. So yeah, Dash is done. And I'll pop in a couple of pictures. So I started it right before vacation. I finished it on vacation. And it's very hard to take stuffing with you because you need enough to be able to fit this. But you don't want to take like a big thing of stuffing with you. So I squish as much as I can into a brand new, into a brand new Ziploc bag. Because, you know, after if you have a used Ziploc bag, there's always going to be little holes in it. And if you close it and squeeze the air out, it'll eventually pop back up. So I use a brand new one, stuff as much stuffing as I can get in there. And what's also inside of him, which gives him a little weight too, is, hang on. What's also inside of him is yarn scraps. Remember I had made this bucket to hold my yarn scraps because I used to keep it in a Ziploc bag, a gallon Ziploc bag. So I made this whole bucket instead. So this was overflowing. I also shoved some of these in with the polyfill into the bag and wrapped it and squeezed out all the air and Ziplocked it so it lasted. It's still kind of puffed up a little by the time we got to vacation, but by then it was fine. So he's got, I put in some polyfill, I made a little space, and then I put like in the center of that a whole bunch of the scraps, because you don't want to just put it in here without something or something surrounding it, because they will pop through, or you might see if you have like a stitch that's a little gappy, you will see whatever, unless it's the same color yarn, you'll see it through it. So he's got in his head and his body, he's got, did I do it in the, yeah, I think I did it in a little bit in the legs and arms too, but he's got scraps in there. So that was a long intro to Dash. All right, what else? The other thing I made, actually, right when I got there, I made myself, pardon me, I made myself a, I'll pop in a picture, and I still have, I forgot the string. I made myself a sun hat. Yeah, that looks odd here, huh? Ooh. Okay, so I have two sun hats I've made that I take usually with me, wear in the summer or take on vacation. And the last two vacations, I forget them. I've forgotten them. So as soon as I got there, I'm like, oh, I forgot my hat. So figured I didn't have cotton yarn, but I'll just make one anyway. So this is the Big Twist anti-pill. And it's rated, I didn't notice last time I talked about it, as a number 6. This is not a number 6. I would say maybe if it gets near that, it would be like a light number 6. You know how some number 4s say they're 4, but it's really a light. This is more, I would say, a number 5 weight. I couldn't believe when I saw that it's rated as a number 6. It is heavier, and I said before that it was the same as the Big Twist Premium before. It is a little heavier. It looks the same when you feel it, when you see it in the skein, but when you're working with it, it is a little thicker. And it is just a little bit softer and spongier. I guess that's whatever they use to make it anti-pill, but it's definitely not a number 6. But this is, one thing I will do is maybe take out a row or two out of that, just so it's not, it comes down just a tad too far before the brim starts. But this is the mesh poncho sun hat by Bob Wilson 123. I used the top portion of her pattern, and then at the bottom I ended, I think, with half double crochets instead of double crochets, and then I went into the brim, which I kind of did on my own because I wanted it to, I just did it on my own. I didn't follow the pattern up to there. I just needed something, I wasn't thinking, and I just needed something with giving me the mesh that would work, because I tried it and I was messing up, so I just found a pattern and that was hers. So that's that. And I had a little bit left of that yarn, so you know, I'm trying to leave, I keep dropping things, sorry. Trying not to leave so many scraps. So I used the rest and I made an octo. Got a little flower. This blue is actually from the scraps that I had packed to put in Dash. There was I needed something because I wanted to use all the yarn, but red on red wouldn't show up so much, so I just used a piece of scrap to create the center. And it's stitched on after the fact. It's not crocheted on, so. Yep. And the mouth is from the scrap bag too. So that was that. What else did we do? What else did we do? The other thing that I did, so one of my things that I wanted to do was knit a sweater, and I did my chunky sweater that I did a few episodes back. I want to make another one in a lighter weight, and then I think I will be officially a knitter. There's just certain things you have to make. That and socks. I did do a chunky sock, like a number 6 bulky, but I wasn't pleased with the heel, my understanding of the heel, so I need to do it again. But the other thing I hadn't done is knit cables. So, and I didn't want to have to fiddle with like the cable needle. I know I'll need it for some things at some point, but I was watching an old episode, or I had seen an old episode way back when, of Christy Glass Knit, where she had Malcolm, I forget what his last name is, but he's Mr. Hugs. He's big into cables, like that's his thing. And he does, I guess, manly cables. He does things, you know, he's a menswear designer, more or less. But he had shown her how to do, he was talking about cables and saying, it's easy to do it without a cable needle. And ever since then, I was intrigued, but I've never tried it. So I decided to give it a shot while I was on vacation. And I just did a basic beanie, no pattern, and I didn't count my my multiples right. So my cable is a 4x5. It's a 5/4, which I think you can do whatever you want with a cable. It doesn't have to be an exact number, but I can see that there are places where I need work on, but I didn't use a cable needle. And I think a lot of it has to do with tension, because I didn't use a cable needle and I was petrified of just dropping all my stitches. My tension was a bit tight in places, but overall, and you can't really see it so much in this yarn, but this is also the yarn I dyed for Setta's July calendar cal. So that's a 2-for-1. I will put up a picture of what the colors were for that, but I dyed this for it. So this is it. I knitted a cable hat. My first cable done sans cable needle, without cable needle. So quite pleased with that. I will definitely have to give it another go. This time I will follow a pattern, because what I did here, I don't want to say I shouldn't have, but I think there's an easier, well, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but here, I'm not pleased with what I did here, but I'll find a simple pattern and follow it and see. But yeah, first cable, check. Without a cable needle, which I'm more proud of. All right, so everyone's making the ponchos, the mesh ponchos. There's the one that Z kind of popularized, which is Yolanda Soto Lopez's mesh poncho. And there have been many variations of that. Crystal Bagaday has one. Somebody else had one, I think, that Setta did for them. Excuse me. So while I was on vacation and Dash was done, and I think I was done, my hat was done, and I didn't bring a whole lot of project ideas. So I had a skein of Candy Shop. Bernat, Candy Shop, is that Bernat yarn? I don't even know right now. Brain fart. Anyway, I had a skein of Candy Shop. It's the gray and white marley color. Not exactly the right yarn for a poncho, at least not for this weather. But I decided I had started a hat that I was trying to do a pattern on, and it wasn't working. So I had like the brim and like maybe 5 rows of the hat, and it just left it because it wasn't what I was envisioning. So it'd been sitting there for a good few months, just like that. So I just pulled that skein, that cake, and took it with me. And what I ended up doing was my own. It actually looks like a great skirt, actually, if I was a big skirt wearer. Or a skirt overlay, because it's not really a skirt because the holes. But yeah, I did a poncho. I just made it up as I went along, but obviously inspired by all the ponchos that that are out there right now. Yeah. So the neckline, I know I wanted it a little thicker because I know if it was thin, it would just, and I did it too big, it would just slide off me. So yeah, it looks great on the mannequin. It looks longer on the mannequin, but you know, anyone of any girth, it will stretch out. And given that it's mesh, it'll stretch out and you lose some of the length when that happens. So definitely the case, but not bad. If it was a drapier yarn, I think it would have been a lot better, but it looks great on the mannequin. All right, so that's that. What else did I do? So I think that is it, except for the empower people is the collaboration that was going on. I think there's even an Instagram account and maybe a website for it as well. So if there is, I will link that below. At least the if there's a website. But this is the crochet version, and it is basically a asymmetric triangle small version that you turn into a cowl, and it's done in half double crochet. It's a free pattern. All of them are free. So this is I had a skein. I have quite a few skeins of Rochelle of Queen's Yarn Boutique. I bought some at regular price, and I bought some when she was having clearance. I think between seasons she was clearancing stuff out. I think it was right before my yarn ban. I got a few, and I know I have some that been there a while I haven't touched, but this is called Wild Cherry, and it's just an explosion of color. Did I take I don't think I took a picture of the skein before, but her colorways are just, it's color. I love it. It's just, it's all color. It's not subtle. It's not serene. It's just, it's a punch of color, and I love it. So again, it's a picture in asymmetric. It starts here, it grows and it grows and it grows and it grows, and then you join and you form. And actually, other than changing the types of stitches in here, I follow this. I followed the right hook size, which I normally don't do, and I find that it's still, in the pictures, it looks tighter around their necks, but I find that mine is quite loose, unless they styled it, you know, as you're wont to do for the picture, to make it look its optimum. But theirs looked closer to the neck. Well, in the original picture. I did look at some of the other finished objects, and some people's, you know, I'm sure it depends on the yarn you use and all that. They did have bigger gapes here, like mine does. But what I did differently. So I was going along half double crochets. I like half double crochets, but when I go to pull through those final loops, I always get it snagged. I'm a double crochet. Sometimes when I'm working a project, I switch into double crochet without even noticing, and then I have to rip back. But I knew that I would be like that with half double crochet, like it would get to me. So I actually started with the camel stitch and what did I do? Back loop only, and then the camel stitch. Did I do back loop only? Yep. back loop only, and then camel stitch. And I'm sure you probably can't see that because of the colorway, which is after I mentioned that it was gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So yeah, you get back loops, and then the next row camel stitch, back loop. So it gave it nice. If this was a more less saturated color or a solid color, you would see it, and I love it. What that does tend to do is it tightens up your project a little, and opposed to if you just used just regular, you know, half double crochet under the regular loops. So then I switched, because I noticed it was getting a little tight, so I switched back to regular half double crochet, and then I switched back to the what I was doing back here, but what I did instead is I kind of made it a feature in the middle. So on the sides I was using regular half double crochets in the regular loops, and then in the center section I did what I did in the beginning. And again, if it was a plain color, it would look so much better, because in person and you can see it, it looks great, I think. And then again, that little section with the camel stitch made it a little tight. So at the top, what did I do at the top? I did one row of camel stitch and one row of front loop, no, did the camel stitch and one row of something. I forget. Oh, one row of regular half double crochet in both loops. So instead of going the back loop, but I still bracketed it with the first few stitches being regular half double crochet. So I know it can't be seen, but in person you can see. It just gives it a little more texture. Yeah, you can't see it on here, but I like it. Yeah. So yeah, and then I've got the new way of putting on my labels with the little stud. So yeah, that's that. Did I mention the yarn was gorgeous? It was awesome to work with because of all the colors. If you like color, then I will put a link to her website. That's Rochelle of Queen's Yarn. She is currently, I guess because of everything going on, her yarn order is on back order. So I think she has some things, a few things in her store, but most of it is sold out, and her base is on back order. So I think, oh no, I was going to say that was all. So the other whip I said I was going to start is I had a customer who I was at a craft fair last year. I think it was one I'd done for the first time, and she and her friend came, this woman and a friend came to my booth, and they were talking about stuff, and I don't know if she mentioned it or I noticed it, but she had bought a pair of fingerless gloves from another vendor, and I'm pretty sure that the girls who were selling it were fairly new to it because their ends were not woven in. And those that weren't woven in properly. So I took them from her and I wove in all the ends, and apparently that was a big thing because she remembered it, and she messaged me through my Etsy shop and asked if I can make a certain item for her, and she wanted a rattle, a giraffe rattle. Who knew? So I looked up a few ideas, and because at first I'm like, oh, I have giraffe patterns I've used, I can use that, and then I'm like, oh, do I want to work on scaling it down and doing all that? So then I looked up ideas, and I combined a couple of pictures. I combined a couple ideas from a few others, and I just created this. And she said she was open to color, didn't have to be, you know, the standard color, so I did that. So I took most of them had the straight hair. I liked that bulbous, and it also had a tail, which I may or may not add. I think it would be cute though. Be nice, something for whoever to hold on to. I may want to make this a little smaller hair for smaller hands, But, and then just looking at other pictures, I made up everything else. And of course I latte'd, because I haven't latte'd in a while, and somebody made something, I forget who it was. I want to say, was it Angela Young or somebody, but they latte'd something they made, and I'm like, oh, I haven't used latte in a while, so perfect place to use latte. It gives texture, and I was thinking of adding spots with the latte, and then it would be more texture on it. So can you hear the rattle? Can you hear me? So there's that. But I did buy a pattern, because there's one I saw that I kept going back to, and I'm like, just buy the damn pattern. So I bought the damn pattern. So I will be working on that. I'm sure I will tweak things to work for me, but you know, it's pretty much, it's that pattern I think I use most of the ideas from, but I like the shaping that they had, so I want to see if it's a matter of shaping that they did or just the way I stuffed it. And one of the things I'm having issues with, I love the idea from Valerie of Old Soul Crochet of putting the nylon in, especially for a baby toy. There's nylon in this so the stuffing won't come out. But I find I have a hard time getting shapes, getting, you know, the stuffing in the right places to shape it, because when I do it, by the time I'm done, it kind of closes back on itself, and I'm sure it's the nylon doing that. But it didn't give me the shape I wanted, so I'm going to see if the pattern has shaping, or, you know, yeah. So that's the giraffe, or that's number 1. All right, that is pretty much it. Ooh, hang on. So before vacation, like the week before vacation, I was determined to go through, like, just like when you make stuff with yarn, you have scraps and you got to figure out what to do with it. When you sew, you get scraps too, and I am one that hates wasting, hence my scrap bags. But I had bigger pieces that I needed to put together. I didn't want to cut into scraps. My scrap bags are from True Scraps. So I decided to make little notions pouches, or anything that it could make a sizable bag. So I was taking all the pieces that I had, and I've had quite a few, I didn't realize, or they were bags that I had cut and I'd forgotten about them. One of them I had cut, and then I ended up using part of it in something else without even knowing it. So I had started making them, and then my machine crapped out on me. Well, I was sewing and something got caught, and that nest formed on the bottom, and I was trying to get it out, and I thought I did, and the next time I was sewing, something hit hard, needle broke. Thank God it didn't fly anywhere, but it ruined something on the inside, so I actually had to take it. Thank God we still have like a machine place downtown. So the day before we left vacation, I dropped it off there, and I just picked it up 2 days ago. So that's working again. But in the meantime, I wanted a different sewing machine, because as I'm sewing on this one, I'm like, oh, I wish it had this, I wish it had that. Or so the whole time during vacation, I made Father Minion quite sick of hearing me talk about the sewing machine. He goes, can you just make a decision already and talk to me when you purchased it? Because I kept changing my mind, or saying, what if, or this one. And the other thing is, just about everything's out of stock. Didn't really give thought to, everyone's making masks, and you know, thread was out of stock, fabric was out of stock, interfacing was out of stock. Didn't even really give thought to sewing machines. They're out of stock just about everywhere, or at least the ones that you want that's substantial. Yeah, pretty much everywhere was out of stock of a lot of things, and it wasn't going to be back in stock until September, October. But so I had to bite the bullet and kind of up my budget a little. So thank you for everyone who's purchased a bag, because you help supplement my latest purchase, and I hope it lives up to my expectations. It's still in the box in the garage, because you know it's delivered, and that's got to sit there for a while to get, you know, yeah, I sprayed down, and it's got to stay there for a while, because it was a pretty big box. So and things are delayed at the post office, by the way, because I was tracking it, and I got notification it got delivered that morning at like 10:50, and I waited till about 4 o'clock to go to the post office, you know, give them time. And being so big, because it's a commercial box, you don't get notification anymore. They used to. You don't get notification anymore that you have a delivery, unless they have, it's so big that they have to put it aside. So then they put a little slip that you have to scan to get it. So I was waiting for that. That never came. So when I went, the guy said he didn't even see it there. So they're so backed up that it hadn't even made it from the dock or wherever up to the front. So I waited, and I went the next day and picked it up. All this to say, I bought a new machine because my old one was sick. And actually, I'm a little leery of using the old one because I picked it up. You know, the guy had a little piece of cloth where he tested everything because it was skipping the bobbin thread a whole lot and making little loops. And I was so excited, and I went to sew, and there was a heavy smell of like WD-40 or the oil or whatever. And the inside where the bobbin was, there was a lot of grease in there. So now I'm worried that, you know, he just sprayed and he didn't really clean everything properly. So I wiped up as much as I could, and I'm waiting. So anyway, all that to say is, before vacation I had started sewing, and I have 6 bags of varying sizes, notions pouches to small to medium sized bags. So they haven't been listed, and I won't be listing them quite yet. I actually want to test out the new machine first, but I've got 2 notions pouches here in that, and then 2 that are a little bigger than these. So I got 2 of those. And what is in here? Oh, this one's got a nice bright yellow. And if the handle doesn't match, then that means I ran out of the fabric or enough to actually make it. This one, the yellow has butterflies on it. This one is just that yellow. It's going to be a long video. This one is just like a geometric white inside. I think this is the same too. Just plain white inside. And then I didn't realize how much of this fabric I had. But this one, again, plain yellow. And some of them, if the handles are different, the other thing I used to do, like when I have little bits of crochet or yarn left, I usually make flowers, I've mentioned before. Well, I used to just make little, turn them into little loops for the fabric. And so I have a little stack of them there of different fabrics of loops, because I sew them so they're ready, and then if I need just a little piece to make like a little, you know, D-ring or whatever loop, I can cut into it, or big enough for a handle. And this one has, again, I think I did that already, yellow. And then there's this one with the brown and gold polka dots and yellow inside. So those are there. I will list at some point, but not at the moment. So that is all. I'm being smiled at by M1 over there. No, you're not on. You gonna say hello? No? Okay. Bye.
Are you drinking water?
Are you shocked that it's not? See, this is what I have to live with. It's water, not wine, and he's shocked.
Yeah. You realize how much of a problem that is? I'm shocked that you're drinking water. You look like Sebastian drinking water from a wine glass. He was doing that the whole time we were over there.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't drink water out of a regular cup once.
Okay. Say hello. On that note, oh my gosh. The whole reason I wanted to make the video, and I completely forgot. That's where my mind's been. So, if you stayed this long, thank you. I know it's been a while. It's been a couple weeks at least since pre-vacation, but I actually have a pattern release for any knitters out there. This one I started since last vacation, and I didn't give it a whole lot of thought. I had one size down. I even had it tested, and it got put to the side. I completely forgot about it. Then life really happened last year, last fall. Life really happened. And then, 2020 started. So, but thank you, Miss Canadian Crocheter, who I guess picked it up again and totally reminded me that I never finished the hat. So I actually got to finish the hat. So what I have is the York hat. It is the same stitch that I did my other two hats in, my footbridge and my pebbles and pathways. I love that stitch. It's just one of those. I took a page out of Repeat Crafter Me where she said you don't always have to reinvent or come up with anything brand new. Just put a twist on things. I'm sure she's not the first one to do it, but she's one of the first ones I saw, and you're going to hear life noises because he just cannot be quiet for the life of him. But she would have like a pattern and then put a spin on it per season. So I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. Because plus I love the stitch. So the York hat has the same stitch as those other two hats, but worked just a little differently and I think a little easier. Kim, the Crafty Nomad, I know she said that she's not into pearls, but this one has a little more purling than the others do. But these are just it's actually 3 sizes, but a couple of them I did in 2 different yarns. So this is one of the things I brought with me on vacation to do and finish, and this is in Lush Alpaca from Loops and Threads, which I love. I love the halo, the heathery look of it, but it sheds like crazy. But this is the small version, which will fit a child or anywhere up to size 20 head. So yeah, that's that. And then this is the only one I did this size and just this yarn. And then this is the medium size, which will fit most heads. And you will see the pattern better on a solid yarn. Okay, and this is in Thick and Quick. This is also in Lush Alpaca. These I got when I broke my yarn ban and went to Michael's, and they had these, and I think of the Michael's I went to, I cleared them out, which is just like 4 or 5 of them. So that's also the medium in that yarn. And then the large, if you like a roomier, the medium will fit up to a 22-inch head, maybe stretch a little more. The large, it's like a 24-inch head, and it's a roomier hat. So that's in Lush Alpaca, and that is in Thick and Quick, and all of these are from my yarn band breakage. So at least it's not sitting there, right? And I think these work up faster than my other two, because they're more, simple stitching, not patterning going on. And if you knit and you're trying for inventory, I think it would be a great addition to that, because they work up pretty quickly. Uninterrupted, flotsam. Uninterrupted, I think they take me at my speed. I think they take me about 3 to 4 hours to do. I think maybe a little more. I didn't really time myself, but it's a quick knit. So yeah, so the hat will be coming out later today once this is up. I'll probably have posted it on Instagram already, because I planned on recording this 2 days ago and my schedule changed, and I was supposed to do it earlier today and I was waiting on something and that changed, so it pushed me back. But anyway, it's coming up today. It will be on sale for 20% off through next Friday, the 14th. And all my other patterns will be on sale through Monday, the 10th, at 20% off. So, yeah, that is all. I'm gonna hit an hour, and I don't think I'll be able to cut much out, so it'll be a long one. Anyway, glad to be back, and hope you guys are having a good time. Like I said, it's been hot. We had a little bit of the hurricane rain and the wind. Oh my god, the wind was crazy. But It's calmed down. It's getting cool at night already. I wasn't prepared for that at all. Wasn't. And it's already here. And yeah. On that lovely note, I will bid you adieu, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.